Launch Lady Buckaroos, how the heck are you? So I know I'm a couple weeks ahead, but I was trying to channel a couple, or I had an idea for a couple Valentine's themed cocktails, just using up some stuff that I have, and I used the rest. So both cocktails, I used this product as the main ingredient because I just had just enough to make two cocktails with. So unfortunately, I can't reproduce these exactly the same again as I get more of this, but the idea I think is sound. Anyways, it's from Crystal Ridge Distillery out of I just went blank. Fuck. What's that horse racing town in Arkansas? Hot Springs. God damn, I just went blank. I haven't even drank anything yet. Anyways, at a Hot Springs, Arkansas. Shit, man. Anyways, it's 120 proof Mule Kick Moonshine, or it's an unaged whiskey, if you will. So I use that combined with equal parts of sweet vermouth. Equal parts of dry vermouth and blanc vermouth. So it's basically a white Manhattan, and I use some Peychaud's bitters, but I use just a little bit of cherry juice, and then those Peychaud's can be that beautiful pink color there. So I'm calling this a Sweetheart Manhattan, but it's basically a white Manhattan, if you will. And I used that mostly because, well, I had a little bit I needed to finish up, enough for two cocktails, as I said earlier. But it is one of the very best unaged moonshines, if you will, that I've ever had. It is just done so impeccably well. Oh, excuse me, I forgot to bring something over here. Bear with me. First video on a Sunday, first liquor on a Sunday. Yeah, I'm having troubles. It's taking me about an hour to put this thing together, so I'm just moving real slow. And anyway, it's been one of those days. You make sure we're working here. We are working just fine. Anyway, let me set that down now. Pick this cocktail back up. So yeah, like I said, it's basically a white Manhattan, but for this, I'm calling it a Sweetheart Manhattan because I got that nice color in there again. Just that tiny bit of cherry juice, and then about 3 dashes of those Peychaud's bitters gives me that nice color. But keeping in mind, what's actually in here is 120 proof moonshine, and then equal parts of dry and blanc vermouth. So it's not a sweet drink by any means, but I love the color. It fits with the upcoming holiday, if you will. Now, my second cocktail I have, I kind of went more all in as far as getting to flavors. We'll go into that later, but I want to keep this one simple. I just had the idea because I love a white Manhattan, and I wanted to use the rest of this product. This, again, at 120 proof, this stuff is just so easy to drink. You wouldn't think at that 120, but it really is. It's just done so well. And it's a good Valentine's Day themed cocktail because I've got that nice color there for folks that really want a nice cocktail and not a sweet cocktail per se. I mean, if you're kind of a traditionalist like I am and you like the taste of the liquor, the spirits, the whiskey, if you will, this one gives you that and then gives you that color. Yeah, I had about, I don't know, between 8 to 10 ounces left of it, and I used about 4 ounces actually to try to make some vanilla. I had some vanilla beans, so I put that off to the side. But then, well, what I had left, I split it up amongst these two cocktails. So there's between 2 to 2.5 ounces of liquor in each one here. 1 ounce total between the two, between the Blanc Vermouth and the dry vermouth. I used a half ounce of each in here. And then no, it was about 3 dashes of the Peychaud's. But boy, this is nice. This one will be more up my alley, right? I am a bit of a purist. So here I've got a straightforward cocktail, a booze forward or spirit forward cocktail, if you will, but it looks the part of the holiday. It looks the part. It's pink, man. And I did, other than the cherry juice and the bitters, that's all I use to get that color. And what cherry juice did I use? Well, just enough to take that nice cherry, put it in the bottom of this glass and what was around there. So it wasn't, I didn't add any extra cherry juice per se, but I didn't try to strain it off either. I left that little bit in there. So once I got everything together, I got that really nice color on there. Oh gosh, that is good. God, it really is good. I do like a white Manhattan. I haven't had one in a while, and I've never done one quite like this because I was really, again, I was trying to channel Valentine's Day to get me to a specific color, but it's nice. So because of that cherry, because of that touch of cherry juice, you can taste a little bit of that cherry in with that liquor, which is what I was trying to get to. Finish this one up and I'll grab cocktail number 2 for you. And again, I'm a firm believer in working with the ingredients you have on hand. Now, I know there are times you're going to have to go to the store and buy some things, but sometimes you can make do with what you have. You may not realize what you have. If you're like me, sometimes you have things around, you kind of forget they're there. I am a bit of a purist, so I'm drinking a lot of whiskey neat, and when I'm having a cocktail, it's typically a Manhattan. So when I try to get fancy, sometimes I forget that I have some of these other ingredients around. And I go in spurts myself. I buy a lot of stuff when I have the ability to, and then I just don't buy anything for a while. I make myself use up what I have. I'm not a collector that wants 200 bottles laying around the house. I think that would really upset my wife because we don't have a lot of room as it is. So I buy a lot of stuff. I've got a pretty full bar cart here. But then I make sure I go through it, and I'm at that point now where I always like to keep between, I usually like to have at least 4 unopened bottles at all times. But, and right now I think I've got 5, actually. I think I've got 5. But I'm intentionally not opening anything until February. So, like I said, I do need to work through some of this stuff I have. I've got a couple, though, that I've worked through a lot of, and I'm going to stop for now until I get closer to Valentine's Day, because I've got the Traverse City Cask Cherry Bourbon. I've used a lot of it because it's really good, but I want to save what's left of it for around Valentine's Day to make those themed cocktails. And I also have the St. Elmo's Cherry Vanilla Bourbon. Again, that's one I want to hang on to for that reason as well. And I'm recovering from some hand surgery here. I had carpal tunnel and cubital release. So I'm just doing stirred cocktails at the moment. I'm not doing shaken cocktails because there's a couple that I like to make, but I'm not sure that I could shake properly at the moment. I do like this. Like I said, I do enjoy a white Manhattan anyway. And I like to do, some will do just the dry vermouth, some just the Blanc. I like to do about equal measures of both. So again, I used about a half ounce of the dry, half ounce of the Blanc, and then the unaged whiskey. But then because I added that touch of cherry juice in there and then those Peychaud bitters, allowed me to reach that particular color, which was what I was trying to get to for this particular cocktail. I'm going to refer to as a Sweetheart Manhattan. I'm going to try to integrate it at work, but I don't have the ingredients I need. So I may have to do it slightly different. Might have to do more of a Sweetheart Martini than a Manhattan because I don't have a white whiskey there. Probably have to do some vodka, so it's going to end up more of a martini. But I would love to recreate this cocktail. It is nice, and again, it's just for those that like a nice balanced spirit forward cocktail. Want something that kind of fits the bill but not overly sweet, and this one does because you just get that nice hint of cherry in there, just enough to let you know it's there. And because again, I'm using that unaged liquor, I'm using the Blanc vermouth and the dry vermouth. You only need that just touch of cherry juice for that cherry flavor to shine. All right, Slunch, I'll be right back with cocktail number 2. All right, now here's what we got in this one. Again, it's the same liquor. It's that same unaged liquor. Let me show you that bottle again. So both cocktails started with this. The Mule Kick Moonshine at 120. Both cocktails use that product. But I did add a little more to this. Again, to get to certain flavors, right? So I added some creme de cacao and I added some Grand Marnier. And then just a touch right at the end. In fact, I stirred those ingredients and strained them into the glass. And then I just poured just a touch over the top of the Luxardo cherry liqueur. So I'm going for that chocolate orange, a little bit of cherry kind of thing going on. Again, I got a nice color going on there. And because that unaged liquor is so clean, it allows those other flavors to shine through, right? A lot of them, if you've got a rough one, right, you're always going to get that taste at the end, right? That gasoline or, I don't know, ethanol like. But this one is so clean that it allows those chocolate flavors, those orange flavors, and those cherry flavors to shine through. And this is absolutely gorgeous. This would be more of a dessert cocktail, I would say, for somebody that likes things a little sweeter. So I used about 2 ounces of the unaged, about a half ounce of the creme de cacao, about a half ounce of the Grand Marnier. And again, it was just a dribble of the Luxardo. I mean, I poured that in there, strained it in there. I just poured just a touch over the top. So if I were to measure it, it might have been quarter ounce tops. But I just wanted just a touch to add that little bit of chocolate cherry flavor in there. And the Grand Marnier, you wouldn't, you might not think it would work, but it does. It allows everything to shine. And it does have the orange, but also adds a creamy like note to it all as well. I like it. This is a cocktail I would really love to reproduce at work. If I can get my boss to give me the ingredients. Oh, mercy. They like me to stick to the menu, and I like to go off book. uh, But Tom, can't you just? I really can't, man. Uh, I can't even do it at home, even though I'm always trying to stretch, look for something different. Even if I'm just cooking dinner, okay, this is the idea for dinner, but what if we did? That's how I am when I'm putting cocktails together too. I'm thinking, okay, this makes sense, but what if we tried this? Because you never know until you try. Wesley, how are you, man? Good to hear from you. Hand's doing well, man. I appreciate you asking. Love cherry flavoring in a cocktail. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and I try to go about it in different ways. Um, I've been out of it for a while there. I had this cherry kirsch I was using, but I'm out of it, so I probably ought to go get a bottle. So I'm but I've had this bottle of Luxardo cherry liqueur for a while. So I'm trying to get through that before I buy anything else. But I like that the kirsch is clear, and sometimes it's just a matter of using the cherry juice from those dark cherries that you've got. Right, you're putting the dark cherry in the glass anyway. Just leave a little extra juice in there just to give you that hint of flavor without overpowering anything. Oh, what I'm about? What I don't know, 4 weeks away from Valentine's Day. But I figure now's the time you really got to think about it, put them together. I'm not sure if I'm working the day or not. It's on a day that I'm typically off, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So I'm not planning anything with the wife yet till I know for sure. But if I'm being honest, my wife and I don't typically go out on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, I mean, is a racket, right? I mean, everybody jacks up their price. They got the prefix menus. Um, they've got specialty this, specialty that to make you want to get there. But everything is the prices are jacked up. And I keep thinking, well, if they're doing steak and lobster, if they're doing this, if they're doing that, I mean, everything they're doing, I can do at home a little cheaper, especially the cocktails, right? I have most of the ingredients. But so sometimes I will look at that, though, in all honesty. I will look at what their specialty cocktails are having for that day and think, okay, let's see what I have on my card here. Do I have those ingredients? Because I didn't think of that. I thought of these, but I didn't think of that cocktail. So let's see if I've got it. And my wife isn't a drinker anyway, really. She'll occasionally have a cocktail at home, but I mean, it's a very weak cocktail. So if she's going to have one, it's going to be at home. So we typically don't fuss with the crowds on Valentine's Day. We've gotten to where we don't really enjoy going out at all anymore, to be honest with you. And on the rare occasion we do go out, we usually just order stuff to pick up to take home because we both found we like to be at home in our jammies or sweat. That's comfy. I just don't enjoy the eating out experience as I did, say, 20, 30 years ago. I want to be home because also, maybe I'm getting set in my ways as an old person that I always feel that I could do it better, right? That's good, but I could have done that a little better. And on that front, my wife's usually pretty good about stroking my ego too about the food. Other things, she hammers me, but the cooking, she'll say, "No, you can't do that better." Everything else, she keeps my ego in check. But I had a conversation with a friend a while back talking about that, and they weren't quite understanding why I didn't like to go out. I wasn't quite understanding why they only wanted to go out. So, well, because you like to cook, you enjoy that. Yeah, I guess that's why. I mean, a lot of it is, and a lot of it is price too, especially with things being the way they are right now. I mean, a meal that would cost me, my wife and I, $100 plus out to have, I don't know, two entrees, maybe a cocktail and dessert is going to be 100 to 120. That same meal at home I could do for 20 to 25. I mean, I'm not talking a version of, I'm talking the same goddamn thing. I could do that for a whole lot less money if I have those ingredients. If I got to go buy it, well, that's a little different. But I mean, I can make that meal for that amount of money, which makes me like, I don't want to go drop $100 going out when I can, it's only going to cost me 20 to make it at home. That, and again, getting old and being set in my ways, I want things a very particular way, but no matter what I'm ordering. So I always like, okay, this was good, but you didn't quite listen. That's why I haven't ordered a steak out in a very long time, but I had to get to where I would order the steak a half step more rare than I wanted it. As a younger person, I'd like to my steak medium. The older I get, I like it more rare. But I found that they always cook it just a little bit more than you ask for it. So on the rare occasion I do order a steak, I always order rare because it's always going to get to me medium rare. It's never going to get right where I want it. That and the fact that if I order a 1 pound steak, my wife and I aren't splitting a meal. If she's ordering something else and I order a steak, most steaks are a pound, 16 ounces. Yeah, let's just say 10 ounces. Let's say if it's a 10-ounce steak. Well, if I have a 10-ounce steak to cook at home, my wife and I will split that. I'll typically eat 6 ounces. She'll eat 4. But if I'm out and I order a 10-ounce steak, I eat half and take the rest of it home. So that's why I want the steak more rare, because if I'm heating it up, right, I want that damn near blue rare. I'll eat the ends, save the middle, take it home and heat it up, have it for breakfast. And this is what you do when you get old and you get a little tight with the money. uh, the truth is, if my wife enjoyed going out more, we would probably go out more. But she doesn't. We both got to where we'd rather eat at home, so I'm not depriving her of eating out because we both would rather go home and get comfortable and eat the way we would want to, right? So, and Valentine's Day is that. A lot of folks like Valentine's Day to go out. That's your romance, right? And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, I think not everybody, some are going to insist on being that, but I think a lot of your partners might prefer to be at home if you're doing the things that they want, right? I mean, if they want steak and lobster, for instance, buy yourself the best steak out, buy yourself what lobster, and you can make that meal at home for a fraction of what it's going to cost you out. And they're probably going to be happier. So, anyways, I digress. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, whiskey evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, prepare wisdom all around good guy, sluncher. Do want to make one last comment. I mentioned the first cocktail is more me because I'm a whiskey forward or spirit forward cocktail drinker. The White Manhattan is perfect because the only sweetness was that little bit of cherry juice. That cocktail is perfect for me. However, this one was really nice with that little blend. Again, they're using that 120 proof liquor. And you could use something lighter. Like I said, I was killing product I already had. But with that Grand Marnier, the creme de cacao, and then just that touch of Luxardo, it blended very well. I enjoyed this cocktail. For me, it would be a dessert cocktail, or that fire. If we were having our Valentine's Day at home, we had our nice meal, we did everything, and now we're relaxed. We got the fire on the television, right? I got some romantic music playing. This is the cocktail I'd want for that. I really enjoyed that one. So anyway, skip to the end, Slancha. Thank you, guys.